Laura has completed her capstone project and she's very excited to spend the next 10 minutes talking to you about the experience. Laura, whenever you're ready, go ahead, dear.
Thank you so much, Dawn. Hello, everyone. My name is Laura Hughes, and I would like to welcome you all and extend my utmost thanks to my committee for not only being here today, but for guiding me through this mind-blowing journey that we call Capstone. I will spend the next 10 minutes sharing several aspects of my capstone project, including the how and the why I arrived at my project, the skills I have both learned and improved, how I can put these skills to good use in the future, and what I have learned not only about this project, but myself in the process. So you're probably wondering, Laura, a one-woman show? Really? I didn't see this coming. Well, I decided on doing a one-woman show for my project after Kurt Sussman addressed our communication research class my junior year, the spring of my junior year. He talked about the importance of being passionate about your project and really loving what you're doing. And I knew that the theater was one of the only things that I could never hate or get sick of. Now, keep in mind, this was after I had already done substantial research on a different project. It was pretty much 75% done. But after thinking more about what Kurt had said, I dropped my other project consideration and moved forward with the idea of a one-woman show. To tell you the truth, I didn't want to be involved with a project that I was not passionate about. I knew that it would not be fitting to my personality to do an academic-styled project. Within the first 10 minutes of meeting me, you know that I'm not learning, and I'm certainly not having fun unless I'm thinking out of the box, pushing the envelope, and pushing myself outside my zones of comfort. With a one-woman show to plan, complete with rehearsals, flyers, balancing schoolwork, three jobs, and another show, press releases, scheduling, and yeah, there was some acting in there too. I definitely received a really harsh shove right out of my comfort zone. Well, what did I learn from all of this? I feel that I have come a long way, we're talking leaps and bounds, concerning time management. This was one of the only projects in my entire life that I could not push off to the last minute. I absolutely had to be sure that my press releases were in on time. My meeting documentation with my committee members was sent in by those exact deadlines. And all the odds and ends like flyers, blocking, program, props, set lists, costumes, my own photography and posters were set down in a reasonably timely fashion. Now, this all took place while I was in the Keystone Players production of Streetcar Named Desire. So concerning time management, I really had a balancing act going on. I have also become much more confident in my skills as an actress. I specifically chose to do a monologue-based show because, truthfully, monologues terrify me. If I messed up on stage, I had only myself to blame. Once those stage lights came up, I had absolutely no one to rely on but myself. Also, my monologue selection spoke volumes. If you've seen me in a play or just met me, you know me as the funny girl. I'm the comic relief. I could do crazy physical comedy, make insane faces, and I could probably learn a crazy dialect in about an hour. But what I wanted to accomplish with my monologue selection was to show that I do have range. I can be a serious actress. I can be more than the funny girl. I also chose characters without dialects because I knew this is what people would be expecting. I also tried to choose characters that were the same gender and age range and sort of similar. So I really had to push myself to look for the subtle differences in mannerisms, voice tone, posture, things like that. I feel that I've honed my skills as far as public relations and event planning go also. I was in charge of my own publicity on campus. I created flyers, I submitted press releases to the Abington Journal and through Keystone's own press system. I also created an event via the famous Facebook and talked at my event as much as I could. Being my own best friend in the promotions department really helped me get excited about my project and really made the experience all the more worthwhile and rewarding. Now, as far as event planning goes, I had to figure out technical and dress rehearsals, setup, and random details such as, should I have posters? If I do have them, where do they go? Do I have a house manager? Who should it be? What should they be doing? What about music? Should I do introductory music for each monologue, or should I do the same song throughout the entire thing? Yeah, you can imagine. To be honest, I found the event planning and the random details the most stressful part. The most important things I learned, however, were more about myself. Out of my short 23 years, my senior year here at Keystone was the hardest because of personal issues. Although at the time I thought this capstone project was another thing to add to my crazy laundry list of things to do, I realized that by throwing myself headfirst into a project, it helped me focus on something else and gave me some true perspective. Every time I rehearsed a monologue or my show as a whole, I was stepping off into a different world. I got the chance to be somebody else, even if it was just for a few minutes every day. Every emotion I was feeling, the hurt, the anxiety, the sadness, the uncertainty, the frustration, anger, and fear, I was able to put all of that into a character and then put her up on the shelf instead of keeping it all bottled up. I was absolutely a great experience and so euphoric to be able to let out my emotions that way, to let out all those toxic emotions. And I can really say that if I did not have this project to do, I don't think I would have had a really healthy outlet. And I can honestly say I don't know what I would have turned to at the time. I've also learned that I could handle so much more than I give myself credit for. I can roll with the punches. I could take on a lot more than I originally thought. I, of all people I learned, can be adaptable. I learned that capstone is tough. But hey, guess what? So am I. And so are all of you. So, the big question. Should I, would I, could I have done anything differently? Wow. I had major setbacks. 3 of the 4 crew members that I had planned having for my show were going to be out of town in New York for my show. Long story short, 2 out of those 3 were not able to go, and New York's loss was truly my gain. But back to the question, I skipped lines. Really pivotal, really funny lines. My hand got too close to the candle. I had had a candle on stage at the time and I burned myself on it. I forgot props. I stuttered. I nearly fell on my face. I was almost a second away from being a deer in the headlights. I could have planned better. I should have picked out monologues sooner. I would have not done Streetcar Named Desire. I should have not deviated from my timeline so drastically, and I should have gone about the whole thing so many different ways. I have made so many mistakes, guys. But should I have done anything differently? I got the show I wanted. I learned. It was absolutely nothing that I expected, but I got everything I wanted and everything I needed. It was perfect. If I did anything differently, my show wouldn't have ended up, my project wouldn't have ended up like it did. So no, for the first time in my life, no to the should have, the would have, and the could have. Not a single thing. Now, I'm still working on carving out my place in this world as of now, but I definitely know that this project and the skills I've learned and adapted will serve me well in a wide variety of ways. If I decide to pursue acting professionally or even just as a hobby, I know how to complete the balancing act. If I decide to pursue a career in promotions, I have a great background and this has been a great foundation in dealing with press and event planning. Time management and gaining a greater sense of self are also priceless, not only concerning my future job search, but my future as a whole. In closing, I want to thank you all so much for helping me through every step of the way. You now know the how, the why, the skills I've acquired and polished, how they can help me later, and most importantly, what I have learned about this project and myself. Thank you.